Hello everybody, Bearded Brush, and welcome to a new army vlog I'll be doing over the next few months, I'd imagine. With the current rate in which my progress is with miniatures, it will be a few months, I'd imagine. But yeah, I've decided I'm going to be working on a Gundabad force. They've been around for a while now. I think they're some of the first new models from the Forge World line to get some love with the awesome ogres, the trolls, the conversion kit, I want to say, although that could have been out a little while beforehand as well. Um, Obviously, the berserkers, loads of lovely models, of which I luckily now have quite a few of, thanks to a certain jolly red fellow that came Christmas time, old Father Christmas. He did bring me some lovely treats. I still think it might have been my wife dressed up as Father Christmas, but I don't know. But yeah, I thought this would be awesome for a new vlog of my new force. My Dunland force is done. However, I do actually have 3 more skulls finally and 2 more horsemen. So I will get them painted up. I do want to do some conversions with them. Again with the horsemen obviously, but also with the Huskarls. I love the poses. I'm going to stick to the majority of the poses just as they are, but I am going to do maybe 1 or 2 models that will be posed differently just to break it up a little bit more. But overall, this model's awesome. So there will be another Dunland video to follow eventually. But for the time being, my new progress reports vlogs will be on the new Gundabad flavour that I have currently going. Yeah, started off with these guys, the warband, the standard 12 as they are. I'll just move this dude to the side for one moment. So, what can I say? How did I start with these guys? Well, first off, funnily enough, I actually started with the bases. See, I want a themed base look with these guys because it's something I've not really done. Now, for those of you that saw my Glorfindel video a week or so ago, I painted some autumn colours with him. And I wanted to roll with that theme. And I wanted an autumn-based force. I like that. To me, the Gundabad force, obviously thanks to the Hobbit films as well, but the Gundabad force goes well with a wintry autumn theme as that sort of drab darkness that they have to them, and I think it goes well. And I find with the autumn theme, which is a little bit more sort of what I've come up with, because the films is quite heavily sort of snow based, wasn't it? And things there wasn't as much foliage. I can think off the top of my head, it didn't come across so much autumn based in terms of the actual battle when it was happening. There's much more snow and stuff. That's how I think of it anyway. So I thought, okay, Gundabad guys, as you can see, lots of metals, dark browns. There's not a lot of colour pop to these guys. There never is with the baddie forces, with exception to a certain few. And so I thought, well, this is the chance of the bases to do a little bit more maybe than usual. And obviously, fallen foliage, leaves, some real stark bluey grey vibrant stones just to pop against the cold harshness of the metallics, and I think this has worked well, and that's what I was going for. So I based these guys first. Well, I did the bases of these guys first. So let's grab this guy as I keep lingering near him. So as you can see, got some cool little leaves going on there. Did the stones. Now the bases are actually very, very, very fine ballast stones from Hornby products. Well, I say Hornby products from Jarvis Scenics, but for model railways. Obviously, along with normal sand as well. I kind of did a little mix, and not the band, I hasten to add, a mix of stones. Boom. For anyone else just not watching that, was an awful joke in regards to a girl band called Little Mix. Sorry, I'll stop now. But yeah, I did did a little mix of the sand and the very fine ballast stones to obviously give that instant rougher look. And I used literally chunks of slate stone, and I just went nuts. And then used a not so fine stone mixture as well. You can see some stones there. Try and get the light better. Where are we there? So some little stones there. And yeah, just went over it, glued it all down. Happy days. The super glue bonded very nicely with the PVA because I wasn't a bit of a rush to get this initial gluing stage down. And the PVA and the super glue did this wonderful combination mix where it's almost rock solid. Get it? Rocks? Hey, I'm on fire. Rock solid mixture, which is brilliant. So obviously PVA's got a bit of a water base to it, so of course super glue loves a bit of water to dry quicker, to proper seal up. So yeah, that's what I went for. So once that was all done, It was a colour of Mornfang brown and then a highlight of, oh, let me think, Scrag brown, followed by a Shapti bone as the final dry brush highlight. You might be able to sort of make it a nice creamy white sort of colour. That's a Shapti bone. And obviously then Mechanicus Standard Grey, followed by Fortress Grey, followed by Ceramite White, the standard rinse and repeat bearded brush stone style that I always go for. Some of the stones did have a very, very, very slight, to be honest, I kind of even possibly wasted my time because it's so slight, but did have a very slight blue added to it, and a very fine little bit of a wash, just some blue mixed with some white. It wasn't a Cantor blue, it was, oh dearie me, can't think now. A lighter shade of Cantor blue, we'll call it that. And yeah, I'll just go a little wash of some of the stones to give it that little bit more of a colour pop. Once that was done, it was time for some static grass and also some little sort of clump foliage. I can't think what this is called now, but like the little sort of foam sort of stuff. This sort of stuff's quite soft, although it's just dried up a bit because of the PVA I put on. But it's that sort of spongy sort of stuff. You can literally rip it into bits. Again, from Jarvis Scenics. And the static grass was barren. It's like a barren grass. And then we had a little bit of tundra grass as well. They were from not Jarvis Scenics. They were from another company based in Cornwall. Can't think what they're called now. But yeah, them. But basically, you're looking for deserty style static grass, tundra style grass, dead grass. Them sort of looks. Those sort of looks, I should say. Yeah. So I went for that. There was a teeny weeny bit of green, like normal, just like spring green in the grass in some of these. Not many. This dude here's just got the tiniest little smidge. And then after that, I got literally white static grass. I'm not sure if it has a particular name. Again, this is something you guys can find out yourself and just have a little look and stuff. Because I wanted to give a very, very, very slight frost look. So again, with this dude, I keep going to. It's a little bit of white static grass. It's just pure white, no colour to it. It's literally just white. And that gave it a lovely sort of frost element to it. Where's another good one? I'm particularly fond of this one, actually. I do like this one. The space coming quite nicely. You can just see some white there near my thumb, some white near the stones. Just to give it that sort of like frosty mildew sort of look. And it came out really nicely. After all that was done, I've given a whole PVA 50-50 water mix all across the board. So the grass is all stuck down nicely. The little spongy sort of, bushy sort of style bits, they were stuck down lovely. And then I went for the green stuff leaf cutter, or any leaf cutter you can find. I'm sure there's many different types of leaf cutter. I just happen to have had a green stuff one bought for me, as well as a few bits I bought for myself. But yeah, I use that. I recommend it. Really good. Really, really good. It just got some. There's 4 different shapes in the particular one I have, but I'm sure there's other ones you can get as well. And yeah, it stuck them on, sprinkled them. What I did to get the colours of the leaves is I've got a normal piece of A4 paper, and I had orange, red, and brown, any shades, and I just painted them, and yellow as well, sorry. I just painted them, one blob of each colour, and then I got my brush, watered down with the water in the bristle steel, and I just went mad, back and forth, back and forth. You almost like wet blending. So this lovely mixture of colour saturation going from one stream to the other. I did the same on the other side of the paper again, matched it, same size. Dried it off a couple of minutes on the radiators, and then that's what I then printed out these leaves. And that way you get a lovely mixture of natural looking sort of colour saturation. So here you've got, they're not just orange and brown and yellow leaves, there's a slight blend. You can see, if my camera's good enough, you can see here that these leaves, there's more yellow here, but as you look up to the top of the leaf, it's starting to get a little bit of orangey brown. And that's to get the natural sort of mix. You got another one here. Is that going to focus okay? It might do. There we go. So yeah, again, the browns, dark brown, you got orange, and this orange one actually has got a very stark bit of a yellow, just the very top there, some sort of whitey yellow sort of colour. And I wanted that to really represent the colours of leaves and how they go, because it's not just a red leaf, it's not just a brown leaf, as you guys know. Everyone knows that there's a gradual colour saturation. That's what I wanted to represent. So I was more than happy with the bases. So then I went on to the models. I won't get too into the models because you guys have seen these for years. These have been around since, well, the 3rd film, the 2nd film even possibly. I'm not so clued up on my knowledge of the Hobbit films because I wasn't heavily into Games Workshop at that point, so I'm not entirely sure when some of the Hobbit releases were about. But they've been around for a long time. Originally, as we all know, they come out as individual packs of 3 swordsmen, 3 spearmen. So I got into huge detail with them. I'll sort of give you the rundown of what I used for painting these guys. So I used dryad bark, I used scrag brown, and also I did use a little bit of rhinox hide as well, just to paint these guys up. The scrag brown was used for the belt, the straps of the shield, and the straps on the back of their legs there, just holding their greaves on. And now just to give them a little bit of a brown pop, just to break them up, because if not, they're going to be really dreary, dull colours. And I know in the films they are like that, but for miniatures, for painting aesthetics, I want something to sort of give me a bit of something nice to sort of enjoy, because I do find drab coloured models, I really struggle to paint them. Some people struggle to paint horsemen and horses and things, but for me, that's awesome. But I really do struggle to paint models that are of drab colours. It's just not in me. I really struggle with that. So that's why that was there. The skin tones were grey for the most part. I don't think I've done any green skin type models. I am going to do a couple of green, but these are mainly grey blue. And for that, I did use Cantor blue. I mixed that with, is it Dawnstone grey? A little bit ceramite white. I did blends as usual. There's about 3 or 4 layers of skin tones there, but because the skin tones are very little on these models, not a lot of time spent on them. What else we got? I did notice, this is something I hadn't even really thought about. Now, I painted the backs of these models in their armour, so obviously all nice and shiny, all, you know, all gravy, all good. But what I suddenly realised was a lot of these models are actually painted with like a leathery back piece. Now, that's something I'd never noticed in the films. I never ever realised this, but of course I do believe that the backs of their armour, it is leather. Only the fronts are actually metal. Now, that is an oversight on my part. I just hadn't thought. I just didn't think. I was enjoying the flow of painting these guys and just never thought to look into their armour too much. Now, I did think, shame. How can I do such a thing? I think I'm going to repaint these. But actually, do you know what? I'm going to leave these as they are. And the next batch of warriors I get, because there will be a couple more batches, I'll paint those as leather. That way, it kind of gives a different vibe to the army. It makes it seem like sometimes the armor was made for them, some it wasn't. You know, I kind of like the variation of it, and also saves me a bit of time having to repaint them, even if it's a small section. But yeah, that's an oversight on my part. But I don't think it overall affects, you know, only the very hardcore fans are ever going to call me out on it. Their hair is literally, it's just black. I have done a very slight highlight of white with black. So slight. I don't even know if I sort of, maybe I should have done a bit of a better highlight of that. But again, because it's dark hair, it's not a lot there. So there's not a lot of point spending a huge amount of time on it, because unless you want the colours to really pop, it just doesn't seem worthy to me. Now, something of note, again as well here. Now, you'll see this dude's got a spiky bit of his helmet there, but the spiky bit on that side's gone. Now, that is because when I was getting these guys all cleaned up, obviously being fine cast, they're very fine in their durability. Now, to me, there's a little groove bit on this side. You can just see it there. Now, I've actually cut a slight point there because I felt like this spike needed to be completely free of the helmet with no attachment, so I thought that was just a mould line. Tried to cut it off this side, and of course the spike got pinged off. Tried to do it again with the next model, same thing happened. So again, I should have checked, but in my haste I didn't. And when I looked, I realised that little piece of sort of plastic, resin, whatever it is, that connects this spiky bit on that side should actually be there. That is part of the sculpt. So again, my bad. I've learnt from that. Again, it's not too noticeable. I can put it down to battle damage, something like that. But yeah, as a bit of an oversight. So those are the main colours for it. And then for the armour, it's simply a case of, well, undercoated warp block bronze. Armour was the first thing I painted first, I should say, before I did all the leathers and browns and stuff. Warp block bronze went on first. As to give it the, not rusty, but the not so polished armour look to these bad boys. Then dry brushed over with lead belch as usual, and then I highlighted with a watered down mixture of Runefang steel. Reason for that is because I wanted to not wet blend, but I wanted to graduate the highlight into the armour. So there's a couple of layers of Runefang steel on a lot of these guys. Some there's not, like this guy for example, not so heavily saturated in the colours. Don't know if I can get a comparison here maybe. So you've got this guy here, but then if you look this guy. Just see, to me, he's just, I suppose they look very similar, but to me, this guy's just got a little bit more saturation than this guy. And that's intentional because I wanted a slight variety of the shininess of the armours. But I wanted to create a gradual shine highlight. I know you can do it dry brushing, but by this point I was happy with the armours. I wanted the stark highlight on certain points of the armour. So I thought by using some water mixed in with the Runefang steel, that would make it a lesser consistency to paint with. And I think it come out okay. Again, it's a metallic paint, so it probably doesn't blend so well with water as like normal colour paints would do. But it's come out nicely, like on the shield, for example. It's kind of really nice. You can kind of see the brush strokes, but again, I quite like that effect because it almost looks like that's how it's been hammered, like the arm and the back, the weaponry's been hammered into shape. Because again, this is an army forged from crude industry. It's not going to be finely wrought armor like the elves. So that's what I went for with the armor. Let's have a look. Got another guy here. I did really enjoy painting the chest pieces on these guys. As you can probably see, they're really pronounced, and the edges, really nice models. And yeah, that's how I went for the armour. So it wasn't the normal dry brushing effect, like highlight, highlight, highlight with dry brush, dry brush, dry brush. It was a couple of dry brushes followed by a wetted? Is that a word? Wetted? A wetted mixture of Runefang steel as an actual painted on layered highlight. And that's it really. Scrag brown for the, no, tell a lie. Is it scrag brown? No, it's not. It's Mornfang brown, sorry. For the wood, this is this guy. This guy, look at the spear. I could not straighten that out for love nor money. This bit was bent. I actually did manage to straighten this bit out, but this bit, holy Christ, I could not. I've believe me, I attempted it, so I've put it down to just shoddy craftsmanship on the Gundabad Orcs part. But yeah, Mornfang brown. Haven't really gone into detail and highlighting this at all. Just left it as it is. Because, well, I want to have a good army painted to a reasonable, decent standard. You know, my sort of what I call my sort of standard. But at the same time, I don't want to go nuts on certain elements because time is such an issue at the moment. And I want to get these armies. I want to get this army painted and a nice, good bit of progress. I don't want to spend ages like highlighting little wooden lines and stuff like that. So I will do because the completionist in me wants to do it. But for the moment, I'm calling these guys done. Build quality, these guys are fantastic. They're fine cast, so you know what you're expecting. I won't go into that. But I was actually very lucky with these guys. There were some awful bends in them. I'm not going to lie, there were some awful bends. But not as bad as what you had thought or you'd predict. The only real bad sword was this one. This is the Crinkle Cut Crisp sword, known for its lethal crinkle abilities. This was literally proper going off in a direction. I managed to sort of draw it out and warm it up and bend it in shape, and I tried to flatten it, but yeah, that's as good as that's going to get. But yeah, sword-wise, they were fine. A couple of spears, I'd say, were pretty bad. There's a lot of flash on them, but overall, these are actually pretty good fine cast sculpts. Like, I've had a few fine casts now, and I've had my fair mix of disasters, but these guys are actually pretty good, which means I'm slightly dreading the next batch of 12 that I get, because surely my luck cannot run continuously with these models being that good, so we'll see. Also, the keen-eyed among you may notice I do need to tidy up the sides. I need to paint the sides black. They're not tidy yet, still a little bit of paint bleed going on there. But yeah, my plans with these guys in terms of battling is I want to have another 2 sets. So I'm going to be having, 36 miniatures in total. Not all fielded at one time, probably, unless the armies are huge and maybe 1,000 points, if not more, you know. But my plan is with these guys, obviously shields at the front, spear support. I do believe the spearmen can have the option of shields as well. Again, I need to look into that. I'm not, my knowledge is disappearing as I'm not able to thoroughly absorb myself into all the information of these armies and things. I've read all into it, but little bits I forget about now and again. But I believe they can have shields as well now. So of course it will be the tried and tested method of shields at the front, spear support. So you got that good defense going on. I'm going to be using these guys as your standard shield line, battle line type things. I'll be using the ogres as flankers, the troll as a massive target for soaking up punishment, and doing different things as well. For all-out battles, just killing each other, then everything's going to just plough in straight away. I do plan on having some of the goblin mercenaries as well, because they're just fantastic models. So we'll be looking into them. And also as well, I think I will be having some orcs mounted on wargs. Because again, that'd be awesome. Gives me the option of maybe some bows as well. We'll see. But yeah, that's these guys done so far. Similar paint scheme across the board. For the next set as well, I might have some bases where there'll be some more snow type elements to it. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But then finally, so you might be able to see a little better here. So I did a load of ballast and sand first, and then I've glued on a lovely bit of slate, a couple bits of slate actually, and then some of the larger, smaller stones. So this is work in progress. And this, of course, is for the great Captain model. Look at him. Absolutely fantastic model. I love this model. I don't know what it is. So similar to the other poses of the normal infantry, but it's just a really good striking Captain model. A little bit reminiscent of the Uruk-hai. So the plan is, if I can just try not to get my thumbs in the way too much of the viewpoint for you guys, but there you go. So that's going to be him stood in the slate. Epic pose. He's had his base layers done. I did not do warp block bronze for this guy. He went straight on with a very, very heavy dry brush of lead belcher all over. And then he's had a lovely wash of Nuln oil. I did actually use Nuln oil for these guys as well, I should say. But I didn't want the warp block bronze because I felt that I wanted the captains to... These guys aren't your standard orcs, are they? Let's face it. These are the hench orcs of the Middle-earth world. And as such, there's a bit of bravado, more so even than the standard orcs. And I wanted these guys to have like pride in their armor. I wanted these guys to, really take pride in it. So for that reason, I wanted this guy to look like he's got much finer armor for an orc. So there's not going to be any sort of rusty elements or just oily, dirty elements. I want this guy to really sort of sparkle that tiny bit more. Even his leathers, I plan on making his leathers look a bit brighter, a little bit more browner. Not so drab as like these guys, and it's all part of the theme. All part of the theme. That's what I'm going for. So yeah, this guy's at a very basic stage of painting, but he's just awesome. I have a conversion kit. I would get it to show you guys, but I can't actually see it, so I can't grab it right now. Because I know you can put a different head onto your captain, or just simply tool the captain up in completely different ways. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure if I will. I may well do. I may well, just for fun. Why not? But the head's really good, and I think to cut this head off, to put a captain's conversion head on, if that is what you can do, I believe it is. There's going to be some green stuff needed because this was all one piece together. So you're going to have to really work on that. I mean, I'm happy to convert. I convert metal models all the time. It's no biggie. Finecast is easy to convert, but I don't want to spoil anything. But we'll see. We'll see how we do. See how we do. But yes, there's the captain. So there he is in a very undignified state of unreadiness right now. And there's my 12 boys. Next up will be the ogres, and then, well, no, next up will probably be the troll, and then the ogres, and then we'll go from there. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you've enjoyed watching this, and I hope you enjoy the future journey we have as we go through the Gundabad stuff. Hopefully things clear up a bit in another couple of months. We may be able to finally get some battle reports or just something else going on. Who knows? It's the Bearded Brush signing off. Thank you ever so much for watching. Thank you as well. I've had a couple of new subscribers, I noticed. My numbers have jumped up a little bit, so thank you ever so much for whoever you are that have done that. And thank you for letting me waffle on for the best part of 24 minutes. Have a wonderful day, guys. Take care. Keep on hobbying, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.